Hi, and welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. Great to have you in the conversation. Free for All Friday. Talk about anything that's been on your mind and been in the news over the course of the last week. And I do want to talk for a moment just about this immigration business. Again, from an evangelical standpoint, it's very, very simple. We are opposed to amnesty because it rewards criminal behavior. And one of the things that you realize in studying the scriptures is that God's worldview when it comes to public policy is that a society is to be governed by the rule of law. That's what makes a society just. That's what makes it stable. That's when people feel a sense of security because they know there are certain laws, that these are good laws. These are laws that have been formed by their elected representatives that they can replace if they don't like the laws that they're putting on the table, and that people are going to be held accountable to those laws. And everybody is going to be held accountable to those laws. There is equality before the law, equality under the law. Nobody gets a special break. Everybody stands as an equal to everybody else before the law. So when you start seeing people getting a break that other people don't get, they're let off the hook when other people aren't for the same offense or similar offenses. That offends our sense of justice, and it ought to. That is unjust. It's unfair. It's immoral. It's unethical. It's not right. And then when you see not only people are being let off the hook, but they're actually being rewarded for criminal behavior by given certain guarantees and certain resources that the law-abiding citizens in that culture have to pay for out of their own pockets, so that those that are breaking the law can be rewarded for criminal behavior, then that really is offensive to any sense of justice. So it's not only wrong, but it begins to destabilize a society because people then begin to lose respect for the law. They lose respect for the rule of law. They start looking for ways that their group, their favorite group, can get cut some slack. So it's just bad for culture, bad for society. There's a reason why we ought to be a nation of laws, not ruled by men, but ruled by laws. And I think this is part of the reason, frankly, why only 25% of the American people are identifying as Republicans. Why is that? Because the Republican Party no longer speaks for them. It doesn't stand for them. I mean, the number of people identifying as Republicans should be growing by the day. Instead, it is shrinking by the day. It was 31% a couple of years ago. Now it's down to 25%. More people are still identifying as Democrats than Republicans, despite the fact that it is the Democrats that are in the process of systematically destroying the United States and destroying our healthcare system and destroying our economy. We'll talk about the jobs report in the next hour, and it's terrible. And it's all because of liberal economic policies. So the number of people identifying as Democrats ought to be going into the basement. The number of people identifying as Republicans ought to be spiking, and it's not. Instead, it's shrinking. Why is that? I think in part it's because the Republican Party is now pushing amnesty. So the question is, why do they do this? Why does the Republican Party, they know where their base is at. They know that the evangelical base in particular does not approve of amnesty. They know that conservatives in general do not approve of amnesty. That was a big part of the Tea Party event. When I got involved with the Tea Party movement, that was one big issue, was illegal immigration and opposition to amnesty. That was part of the energy that led to it, coming out of the battle with McCain and Bush back in 2007, 2008. So the leadership is out of touch with their base. They're not in sync with the base, and they know it. Why? Why is that? Well, because big business has promised them boatloads of campaign money if they'll go for amnesty. Now, why does big business want amnesty? They want cheap workers. They want workers that'll work for minimum wage. And a lot of Americans won't. Why won't Americans work for minimum wage? They're getting more from welfare. 35 states, you can get more by staying home and doing nothing and taking advantage of welfare. You can get more income doing that than you can going to work at minimum wage. So where's the incentive for Americans to take these jobs? It's not there. They can get more money staying home and playing Xbox, and they will. That's human nature. That's why you want your public policy not to reward and incentivize these worst features of human nature, this tendency to become dependent and to feel entitled to certain things and to be lazy and not work if you don't have to. We don't want to encourage that. It's bad for the American character. So at any rate, that's one of the reasons, and that's connected to the minimum wage. if you got a minimum wage, then that's going to keep certain people from being able to get jobs because maybe they can't contribute $7 worth of labor. Maybe they can only contribute $5 worth of labor. Well, if minimum wage is $7.50, they're frozen out completely. They can't even get in the door because the employer cannot afford to pay them because it's costing him $2.50 an hour to keep you on the payroll. He's got to have people that are contributing more to the business than they consume, that add something of value to the enterprise. So these big companies, they can't find workers to work these minimum wage jobs. Americans, it's not that they're jobs that Americans won't do. They are jobs that Americans on welfare won't do. That's the way we need to identify and describe this problem. There are no jobs that Americans will not do. There are jobs that Americans on welfare will not do. So this welfare thing is crippling the American economy by creating this spirit of dependence, the spirit of entitlement, and it's creating this vacuum. You have a lot of these companies, they cannot afford to pay more than minimum wage. They're willing to pay minimum wage, but they got Americans that are on welfare and won't take those jobs. There are jobs that Americans on welfare simply will not do. So they want cheap labor. So we've got to deal with minimum wage laws. We've got to deal with welfare. Those things have to be dismantled if we're going to solve this problem of the demand for illegal aliens. So big business says, look, we want cheap labor. We'll give you boatloads of money, Republicans, if you will adopt policies that reward criminal behavior. So that basically the Republican elites are selling us out for money. That is the bottom line. Chamber of Commerce is going to spend $50 million taking out Tea Party candidates. They want to destroy conservative Republicans. They want to destroy Republicans who stand for smaller government, who stand for a secure border, who stand against rewarding criminal behavior. They're going to spend $50 million to take them out. And the Republican elites, the GOP elites, working hand in glove with the Chamber of Commerce to do that very thing. So we need to realize we got to strap it on, ladies and gentlemen, because we are up against people on our own team when it comes to illegal aliens, it comes to amnesty, it comes to rewarding lawbreakers. We are fighting against people on our own team. Now, we fought him back. We fought George Bush in 2007 and 8. We fought John McCain, made him stand down. We're going to have to do the same thing again. Well, let's go to the phones. Let's go to Michael, Dallas, Texas. Michael, welcome. What's on your mind?
Hi, how are you doing, sir? Thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to weigh in a little bit with the view, from me being a 8-year, let's say, immigrant right now. I just wanted to agree with you. You're absolutely right about the whole amnesty thing. I think it's wrong. I don't think it's right. I think there is a, Democrats talk a lot about building a path to citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we already have one. We already have a legal way to get immigration into this country, and that's how. I was lucky enough to be born citizen, but I was born and raised in a different country, so I still have to go through that path
mm-hmm.
and get paperwork done and get everything done, so I can move to here and be a citizen and take advantage of all the privileges that we have. But I also take responsibility to that all the responsibility for the citizens that we have to carry this burden. But one little thing that I want to agree with you too about the whole Republican Party. I think that's the Republicans, they have turned me down pretty bad right now because they're selling themselves out. And you're absolutely right about the big business. They're buying us out. They're buying people that are elected under a conservative banner, but once they get to the office, they don't do as they said. And on the other side, we have the Democrats, mainly liberals, especially this administration, and they have this big push for all this immigration reform, but that's because they know they want to take advantage, just like the big business want to take advantage of cheap labor. The Democrats want to take advantage of numbers. They know that they're numbers and they can take advantage of it. And they know that these people are likely to join social programs. They know that these people are likely to elect Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that because I lived for almost 18 years in Brazil, and I'm pretty familiar with politics. Not too much. I'm not a doctor, but I'm kind of familiar with politics down in South America. And in Brazil, we have a a sort of, free healthcare. And it works like an old car. It's really bad. I mean, you have to stand in lines. Quality of service is horrible. People die in waiting rooms. But people get so used to that they think that's the normal. They think that's the norm, and they don't understand immigrants coming to this country. They don't understand like the principle of freedom, individual responsibility. And so once these Democrats, let's say, once we get all these numbers and we make this easy path to citizenship and get all these people on board, they're more likely to vote for candidates that will push for social agenda, such as, like we're talking about, unemployment, Obamacare, anything that comes with the label, what comes with the label of free, they'll jump right in it, and they will love it. And so there's, they can exploit those numbers a lot. Now, I do feel in my heart a lot of, I know a lot of immigrants. I know legal immigrants. I know illegal immigrants. And I know both. I know good immigrants. I know bad immigrants. I know people that own their own business and they own their own houses and they don't have, a green card, but they still work day in and day out, in the weather, and they employ people too. They help the economy. And I think there's a little bit that we can take out of this. If we know how to exploit the situation, we can get these people not into a citizenship, not into an easy way out. Here is your citizenship card. I don't believe that's true, because that's basically putting everybody else that went through the legal path. It's cheating on them. But I believe that we can bring these people to fight. And they
Michael, I'm sorry. I wish I had more time. I'm up against a hard break here. I appreciate what you're saying. And what Michael's saying, look, we do this. The GOP gets money, but the liberals get the votes. Back after the news. Stay with us.